So, we're back. The game has started again. A new season with some fresh new faces and some interesting new relationships and scandals to enjoy. But Bridgerton has taken a bit of a change in tone when compared to last season. Before we start with the review, as always, guys, don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoy it, and please do consider subscribing. Now that Daphne is happily married to the Duke, our main protagonist role has moved on to senior son Anthony, the Viscount Bridgerton. It is his job to choose the best woman for the role of Viscountess, as well as obviously his wife. He soon meets Kate, who is an interesting personality, and seeing her riding skills as well as her ability to speak her mind in a smart manner all catch Anthony's eye. However, Anthony is focused on his duties and so decides that whomever is declared as the Queen's Diamond should be his perfect wife. And so Anthony begins his courting of Edwina, who happens to obviously be Kate's sister. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that a rather intriguing love triangle develops between the three of them. And unfortunately, I must admit that this predictability is one of Season 2 of Bridgerton's weakest aspects. The story for Season 2 is rather by the books and predictable. You will see plot twists and character decisions coming from a mile away. And the ending is the most obvious ending that you will guess after watching the first episode. This is rather unfortunate given how much Bridgerton attempts to distinguish itself from other period pieces, with the smart use of modern songs adapted to the classical versions during dances, although I must admit that I really do not enjoy them. The staggering amount of diversity seen in the cast, which is truly impressive and does improve the series immensely, and the wonderfully colourful costumes. This fresh take on the Regency period is unfortunately mostly visual, as the writing never strays too far away from the constraints of the period piece genre. I mean, the furthest we get to straying a little off the beaten path is through the character of Eloise, who is still far too similar to a character like Sybil Crawley from Downton Abbey to make her seem unique. However, that is not to say that all the writing is poor here. The new characters are interesting enough, especially Kate Sharma, whose personality clashes and yet fits so perfectly with that of Anthony's, that it felt like looking at the female version of him, personality-wise obviously. The slow burn approach taken by the series writers for its second season works really well, as it gives watchers time to get to know both protagonists individually better. Many may disagree with me, but I was much more invested in the love triangle we got this season between Kate, Anthony and Edwina than any of the relationships that we saw develop from season 1. It just all feels much more mature, and the writers just more assured in the development of the story. There was no need for all these sex scenes which plagued season 1, which admittedly were for many a highlight of the series. I did much, however, prefer seeing the electric tension develop between our protagonists. I must also admit I enjoyed how the showrunners delved into Anthony's backstory. We get to know more about his past, and this all makes for riveting television, especially understanding why Anthony acts and behaves the way he does. Anthony obviously leads to a more mature story, and this maturity in the plot developments is also reflected in the themes covered in season 2, which have veered more towards the idea of duty and devotion to one's family, as well as stuff like women's rights, which are explored through the character of Eloise. I must also praise the dialogue of season 2, which again is sharp, witty, and a highlight of the series. Seeing characters like Kate, Eloise, Anthony, and many others discuss and verbally jab at each other was a great time. The banter we get to see between the Bridgertons, or the smart scheming by Lady Featherington, is something I did quite enjoy. We also have many subplots to enjoy in season 2, such as the attempted unmasking of Lady Whistledown by the Queen, which leads to some rather tense moments. We also have a lot of other minor plot points which add little or nothing to the story, or else develop in uninteresting and unexciting ways. Visually, Bridgerton is as stunning as season 1, and everything from the costumes to the sets to the dancing is immaculate. There is some very impressive production design at work here, and you will be constantly astonished at the absolute beauty and the hard work and dedication required by all who worked on designing those sets, those costumes, the makeup, and so on. Ultimately, beyond all that, however, Bridgerton is a series about love. It is a romance that develops in extremely predictable ways, but one that had me thoroughly invested, and I honestly could not ask for much more from it. Thankfully, Bridgerton does, however, offer much more, with some of the best production design on TV right now, beautiful colorblind casting, and it really offers you this fleshed out world that is just so welcoming and so enjoyable to experience. I had a blast binging through season 2 of Bridgerton. I only wish that the writers sat down and went for a plot that is a little different from the usual Jane Austen plots and themes that we have come to expect. And for this, my rating for Bridgerton season 2 is a 3.5 out of 5. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that review. And if you did, as always, don't forget to leave a like on this video, and please do consider subscribing. Cheers, and I'll see you guys next time right here on Adlib Talk.